Hello everyone. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the single variable function. Okay. A single variable optimization problem can be defined as the one in which the value of x equal to x star is to be found in the interval a comma b such that x star minimizes fx. Okay. So to be simply put, in a single variable optimization problem, we have a one variable, right? We have a single variable, and we define the maximum point or the minimum point of the function fx based upon the input variable. Okay. Now this maximum point and the minimum point can be defined either as a relative minimum and a relative maximum point, or global minimum and global maximum point. Okay, so let us first of all understand what does these terms mean: the relative minimum and relative maximum, and global minimum and global maximum point. What does these mean? Okay, let us assume let us assume that we have a function fx. Okay, we have a function fx defined in the interval a comma b. Okay, this is x, this is a function fx, this is function fx defined in the interval a comma b, right? Now in this function, if we take a point x, in this function if we take a point x star, okay, in this function if we take a point x star, now this point x star will give the minimum value for a small interval, right? So let us say that the interval is this is x star minus h, this is x star plus h, right? So in this interval we have a minimum value at f x star, right? At x equal to x star we have a minimum value at a very small interval, right? So in that function, in the whole function fx, when in a small interval we have a minimum value, that is called as relative minimum. Okay, so as we can see, at any point x equal to x star, the minimum value is obtained at this point, right? At x equal to x star. So suppose here if we take x equal to x star, the value that will be obtained at this point will be minimum for the whole function, right? So the value that is minimum for the whole function is called as global minimum, while if it is defined for a very small interval, the small interval in this case is x star plus h and x star minus h, that is for this range only. If we have a minimum value, then it is called as relative minimum. Okay, so this is your relative minimum value. Okay, while this is your global minimum value, right? All right, your global minimum is minimum for the whole function, while your relative minimum is minimum value for a very small interval. Likewise, if we talk about the global maximum and relative maximum value, so in this function if we see at any point x equal to x star, at this x star point which is being defined for a very small interval, which is being defined for a very small interval, these intervals are x star plus h, x star minus h. Okay, so when we define for a very small interval and we get a maximum value, then this is called as relative maximum. Okay, while on the contrary, if we get the maximum value throughout the function fx for any value x equal to x star, if we get the maximum value throughout the function fx, we can see the peak is here for the whole function, we get the peak here, right? So for the full function, whole value of the function for which it has been defined for interval a comma b, so whatever the value we put, we get the maximum value at this point, right? So this is your global, this is your global maximum. Okay, so this is your relative maximum point, this is your global maximum point. All right, so your relative minimum and relative maximum point is a function is said to be relative or local minimum at x equal to x star if f x star is less than or equal to f x star plus h for all sufficient small positive and negative value of h, right? Your h can be positive, negative, and for that function your value is minimum. So then it is called as relative or local minimum. While the opposite of this, that if we have a relative or local maximum at f x star greater or equal to f x star plus h, then we have relative maximum value. Okay, likewise the global minimum and global maximum point can be defined. A function is said to be global minimum or absolute minimum at x equal to x star if f x star is less than f fx for all x in domain over which fx is defined, right? So here we have defined the value in the range of a b, right? We define the value in the range of a b. So in this range, the maximum value that we will get is called as global maximum, and the minimum value in this range that will give is called as global minimum. Okay, so these are your definition of maximum values and minimum values that has been defined in your single variable function. Okay, then we have a inflection point. An inflection point is a point x star is said to be an inflection point if the function value increase locally as x star increases and decrease locally as x star decreases, or vice versa. So basically what happens is that for any value, right, if we put the value as the value of x star increases, the value keeps on increasing, and the value of x star decreases, the value also keep on decreasing. So if this happens, then this is called as point of inflection or inflection point. Now there are two theorems which defines the relative minimum and relative maximum point. All right. So the first one is the necessary condition, and the necessary condition is defined as that if a function fx is defined in the interval of a and b and has a relative minimum point at x equal to x star, where x star is between the function a and b, and if the derivative x star exists as a finite number at x equal to x star, then f dash x equal to 0. So basically this says that if we have a function x star, right, and x star will be relative minimum if the derivative is a finite number and f dash that derivative exists. All right, so this is a necessary condition. Okay, but there is some drawback with this condition. The drawbacks that are attached to this condition are as follows. The first one is that we cannot say the nature of x star at the endpoint. So using this condition, we cannot define the uh, nature of x star, that is it a maximum point or a minimum point, especially at the endpoints, we cannot define. If x star is undefined or does not exist at x equal to x star, then we cannot conclude relative minimum or relative maximum at x star. Okay, so basically, like if the derivative f dash x, either if it is undefined or it does not exist, the derivative of fx does not exist, then we cannot tell if we have a maximum point or a minimum point at x equal to x star, and we cannot conclude the relative minimum and relative maximum of x equal to x star for same function even if f dash x star equal to 0. Okay, so we cannot conclude the whether the point is relative minimum or relative maximum, right, even if there is a derivative. right? So even if we have f dash x star equal to 0, right? Even if our derivative of fx is 0, then also we cannot perfectly define the relative minimum or relative maximum point. Okay, now this can be understood through this example. So we have to find out the optimality of this function fx equal to x cube at x equal to 0. Okay, we have to find out the optimality of this point. So let us apply the necessary condition, right? The function is being defined in the interval of -3 to 3, right? As per the necessary condition, the function is being defined in between -3 to 3. We have to find out the optimality at a point x equal to 0, right? So x star is 0. Okay, so as per the necessary condition, the derivative must be there, and f dash x star, that is the derivative at this respective value, should be 0. So this is the necessary condition to define the maximum point or the minimum point, right? So let us apply this condition, right? So your f dash x is equal to 3x square, right? And x equal to 0, we have f dash x equal to 0. Okay, so through this we can say that we have a like a minimum point, right? But is it true? So if you look at here, this is your x equal to 0, right? This is your x equal to 0. But if you put the function in the function fx equal to x cube, if we let's say put x equal to 0.1, we will have a high. If we put x equal to minus 0.1, we will have a lower value. Okay, so if you see that if we keep on putting the values 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0.5, the value keeps on increasing. While if we put a value of minus 0.1, minus 0.2, minus 0.3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, the value keeps on decreasing. All right, so this point is neither local minimum nor local maximum, because as we have discussed in the local minimum and local maximum point, it for certain interval, for certain small interval, it should have a minimum point. But no matter what value, no matter how small value you take, the value will be higher than x equal to 0. So this is the point of inflection, right? This is a point of inflection, right? That is, with every increasing value of x equal to x star, the value will keep on increasing, and with every value of x equal to x star, the value keeps on decreasing. So we cannot define that is it a we do not have the relative minima or the relative maxima. So this is your point of inflection. All right, so you see, your necessary condition is not enough to define the maxima or minima point, right? So to concretely say that we have to define the relative minima point or relative maxima point, we also need a sufficient condition. Okay, so you can treat it this like suppose you want to get into a university, right? uh, and take a civil engineering branch, right? If you want to get into a university and take a civil engineering branch, so what is the necessary condition to get into that university? The necessary condition is that you have to give a entrance exam, right? But then giving the entrance exam does not guarantees you to get the civil engineering branch. There has to be a sufficient condition that need to be fulfilled. You had to surpass a certain cutoff mark for that respective branch, right? So that is what is your sufficient condition. Using this sufficient condition, we concretely can identify if that point is the point relative maximum, relative minimum, or is a point of inflection. So your sufficient condition is these. So for relative minimum, if we have n derivative of x star and f dash f the n derivative is not equal to 0 at x equal to x star, then it is said to be relative minimum if f n x star is greater than 0 and n is even, right? So if the nth derivative of that function is greater than 0 and the derivative, right, the derivative is even, then it is called as relative minimum. It will be relative maximum if the nth derivative of that function x star is less than 0 and n is even, while if n is odd, it is the point of inflection. Okay, again, let us continue with that example. Now we will prove that this is the point of inflection using sufficient condition. Okay, so we have seen that for every value, the value of x star increases, right? Or if we take a negative value, the value of f x star, this function decreases, right? So it's a point of inflection. So using the sufficient condition, we will prove this. Okay, let's use sufficient condition. We will find the f dash x, right? And then we will find the we will search for a non-zero higher derivation. So we'll do f double x equals 6x at x equal to 0, f double dash x is equal to 0. Then we'll go to the third derivative. Okay, because sufficient condition, as per the sufficient condition, we have to find out the nth derivative where the derivative is not equal to 0. So we will see, we observe that the third derivative of that function is 6. Okay, the third derivative of the function is 6. So as per the sufficient condition, the third derivative is a non-zero number, and the third derivative, that is n, is equal to 3, and since n is odd, it is a point of inflection, right? So using the sufficient condition, we have justified that your x equal to 0 is a point of inflection. Okay, let us take another example. So we have to consider the optimality of the function at x equal to 0. The function is fx equal to x to the power 4, right? Now we have to find out the optimality at x equal to 0. If you see here, at x equal to 0, the value is 0, right? So if you take any value, if we take x equal to 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 1, 2, 3, 4, the value keeps on increasing. If we take value x equal to the minus 0.1, the value will again be positive, because minus 0.1 to the power 4, the value will be positive. Minus 0.1, minus 0.2, 0.3, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, the value will be increasing. So the small interval, the value of x star is 0, will be increasing, right? So through the graph, we can say that this is our relative minimum point. So using the sufficient condition, we will prove this. Okay, so let's solve. So just following these steps, we have found out the derivatives. So f dash x, the first derivative, at that is, it was equal to 0. We went to for the second derivative, then we went to third, then we went to fourth. Fourth derivative was a non-zero number, right? So it was the non-zero number, and we got the positive value at n equal to 4. That is the fourth derivative, which is a even number. So as per the sufficient condition, at fourth derivative, the fourth derivative was greater than 0. Okay, and through that we can say that the point x equal to 0 is the relative minimum. Okay, let us do another question. So we have to determine the maximum and the minimum value of the function fx equal to 12 x to the power 5 minus 45 x to the power 4 plus 40 x cube plus 5. Okay, so for this, what we'll do is we will find out the derivative, right? F dash x equal to, we'll find out the f dash x, we'll put it equal to 0, we'll find out the values, and through that value we'll find out the maximum and minimum point. So f dash x equal to 60x to the power 4 minus 180x cube plus 120x square equal to 0. Through this we have x equal to 0, 1, 2. Okay, so now we will see at what point that is at what respective point 0, 1 and 2, what is the behavior of the function. Okay, so for the second derivative, f double dash x equal to this. So at x equal to 1, we have f double dash x equal to minus 60, and minus 60 is less than 0. Okay, so we can say x equal to 1 is a relative maximum point. Alright, okay, as we can see in this condition, we have the second derivative is less than 0. Alright, and the second derivative is of course a even, right? So we have the relative maximum value. Okay, now let us check for x equal to 2. Again, for the second derivative the value was greater than 0, right? So for the second derivative, of course n is even, right, and the values of second derivative is greater than 0, right? So using the sufficient condition, this x equal to 2 is relative minimum point. Now let us check for x equal to 0. At x equal to 0, the second derivative is 0, hence we must investigate the next derivative. Okay, so because we have to find out the non-zero derivative, so the third derivative, for the third derivative, that we have the non-zero value. All right, so this is our third derivative. Our third derivative is a non-zero value, but n is odd. Okay, so using the sufficient condition when n is odd and the derivative is a non-zero number, it is a point of inflection. Okay, so it is a point of inflection. Okay, so now let us do another question. So we have to find the optimal point for the function f(x) equal to 3x to the 4 minus 4x cube minus 24x square plus 48x plus 15. The procedure will follow the same. So what we'll do is we'll find out the first derivative, right? And through that we'll get 0.2 minus 2 and 1. So to find out the exact maximum and minimum point, we'll find out the second derivative. Okay, and from in that second derivative we'll put the respective value to see if the point are maximum, relative maximum or relative minimum. Okay, so for f dash x, the f dash x is 36x square minus 24x minus 48. So putting x equal to 1, the value is minus 36. Okay, so the second derivative is a finite number, minus 36, and is less than 0. So this x equal to 1 is a relative maximum point. At x equal to 2, f dash x is greater than 0, so it will be a relative minimum point. At x equal to minus 2, x equal to minus 2, the value is again greater than 0, so it's again relative minimum point. Okay, so this is how these questions are done. Okay, so I hope this single variable function is clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Okay, thank you.